Welcome, everybody, to Time Management is a Fallacy. That's right, time is not real. So, all of you people stressing, thinking that there's not enough time in the day, silly people. Um, Time is interesting because, of course, it's an assigned value, right? Where did it even come from? It's like money. It is just kind of made up. And then we all just agree, like little sheep, that it's made up and that we all agree on something, which is kind of nice. There's not a lot of things that we can just agree on, like time. Time itself, though, can be challenging to manage. And I think it's difficult because it's not real. It just keeps ticking away at us, right? So we are talking today about that idea of time management, and that really it is a fallacy. We're really more about self-management and that skill set itself. How are we managing ourselves to accommodate the things that we need to get done and when we need to do them and things like that? So we use something called the Eisenhower Matrix, the Eisenhower Principle, to help us organize things in our lives, not necessarily based on time, but on importance and urgency, allowing ourselves to kind of navigate that. So I'll go over that a little bit today as well. And then, of course, we're taking a twist on it because I don't have much time. And that means that my little brain isn't capable of doing all the things that I need to get done, or at least being able to keep track of them. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people by the face, but then I see it and I'm like, I wonder who that person is that I know. I wonder what they would call themselves because I'm not really sure. My mind has a lot of information in it, and it's always trying to organize and make sense of it. And while I may recognize a lot of you, like in your school or even in your state at your conference, then I see you come up to the table here as a vendor, and I'm like, I know them. Yep. Now, who are they? Where are they from? And it can be difficult just to organize information, especially when it's out of context, right? When we're not in that place of seeing it visibly right here. So, because of that, my mind can't hold everything. AI or artificial intelligence is something that I rely on pretty heavily. And some of you know that. I know Tara likes to call my AI assistant Lucy and see how she can trick her or play games with her. But that's right, I haven't answered my phone in almost 19 months now because of AI. So it's a fallacy, this idea of time, sort of. And we're going to use AI to help us actually organize all of these things that we need to do. So we're going to use the Eisenhower Matrix to do that. I mentioned that. We're going to kind of review what that looks like, but we're going to begin with that myth that time management is actually what we're striving for. So the problem that we have is that time itself cannot be truly managed, right? You actually cannot add minutes to an hour or hours to a day. And some of you instead then just work long hours or into the next day. Anybody in here ever like catch themselves working at 2 o'clock in the morning? Does that happen to anybody else? Isn't that strange that like we wake up or we can't fall asleep and our solution is be productive, right? But it's difficult. We all have the same 24 hours, and it's that same infinite amount of time that is just going to slip away from us if we don't do something about it. So, we're going to try to organize it. So, our solution itself, we're going to shift focus instead of with time, we're going to shift it to priority management. And instead of that time, management. Again, it's a self-management tactic to accomplish this. It's a real opportunity for us, and artificial intelligence is helping us get there. Artificial intelligence operates in three different ways. Today, we are specifically talking about something called expert systems. So if you're an AI person and you know all the different categories, this falls under ES, those expert systems, where we're trying to take what you actually know, how the mind actually works, how those neural pathways are firing, and where they're transporting you to, and we're trying to replicate that using the computer into something called artificial intelligence. So we have authentic intelligence. We're trying to use computers to simulate that in a very real way called artificial intelligence that can actually do it better than your mind can. And it can hold more information, a lot more data than what you can actually hold. And it can go out and it can find things. So when I'm trying to recall that name, it already knows it. It can use things like facial recognition. So it could actually just have a little earbud in here. If I had those nice little AR glasses, I could just look at you and it'd just be saying, okay, you're Eric's wife and all this stuff about you, and it would be helpful. Those days are already here. That technology already exists. We're not going to get quite into that expense today. We're going to use some free tools to be able to use this technology. So doesn't require a massive skill set, but it does require a special skill set. And it begins with that skill set of understanding, saying, I realize that time isn't real, that I'm going to have to handle things differently than just blame time. It's called accountability, and that's difficult, right? So we use the Eisenhower matrix to do it. We look at it from urgency and importance, and if you're familiar with this quadrant activity, then you're already ahead of the game. But for those that are not, just a little refresher. So we have things that are in quadrant one. These things are important and they are urgent. So things that are important to do, things that are urgent, they're going to happen. We need to get them done. That's quadrant one. It sounds like your number one priority, right? Quadrant two, those are things that are important. They're just not urgent. So really important to me, but not urgent. We have items in number three. They are urgent. They're just not important. They're going to happen. And I can't wait for them to be over, right? They're not important to me, but it's going to happen. And then we have those quadrant four activities. It's not important. It's not urgent. I just like to do it. So we're going to start just listing out here. If you could just shout out things, let me know what are some urgent and important things. What are your number one priorities? Let's think of a few in life. What do we got? Getting a grant application in on time. What else do we have? Family. What else? Faith. Lunch. Here's the problem. None of those were good. None of those were good. In fact, I want to say they're wrong, but I try to be optimistic. But those that know me know I'm also pretty direct. So you're wrong. No, those are not good examples. Why? Because one, if you're here sitting in this presentation learning about time management, you're wasting time because your grant application, it implies that it is due probably in the next hour, right? The next 30 minutes. See, it's not as urgent. We're being proactive. So it's very important that you get it done, but we're not in an emergency situation. If you are there for lunch, I'm concerned. Maybe your blood sugar and things, we need to take care of it right away, or maybe you're wasting away near hospitalization because you're in starvation mode, because that's what it would mean if I had to urgently prioritize eating. Now, some of you are hangry people, and I understand that. You need to be more proactive as well then. You need to eat a little something before you get upset, right? So that becomes an emergency situation. You have to take matters into your own hands and you have to do something about it. You have to drop what you're doing and go take care of it. So as we go through these ideas, if family is our quadrant one activity, or if faith is, I'm concerned about what you just did. If you got to drop to your knees right now in my presentation and be asking for forgiveness, because we've got to recognize that these are things that require us to stop dead in our tracks. Things that are emergencies, urgent and important. Urgency is guiding what it is that we're doing in that case. So if you got a phone call and somebody in your family was having an emergency, you would walk right out that door and take it. That becomes a quadrant one activity. Right now, this session is a quadrant two activity. It's important. Why? Because I said so. Right? It's important because you've paid money to be here, or somebody has. It's important because you've registered and you stay true to your commitment. See, it has to do about credibility as well, right? So when we're looking at our quadrant two activities, these are all the things that we need to do, but the difference is we don't let them become urgent. We take care of them. We handle them. And it's kind of instinctively there. It's like, well, we need to pay our bills. Right? That's a quadrant two activity. You probably do it every month. If you're like me, you automate it. So unless that card expires, it's just going to pay for itself. But anybody ever have that card expire on you and then it didn't go through? And then you're like, why isn't my phone working? And you're trying to figure it out. And they're like, well, you didn't pay your bill. It's on auto pay, right? We're automating a lot of these activities in our lives. We're using technology to do it. But it still means that it is important that we pay our bills. What it looks like, though, when it becomes a quadrant one activity is when I do look at that phone and it's not working, I forgot to pay the bill, or it's on the verge of disconnect. disconnect, and now it's a quadrant one activity. Remember that that means that you drop everything you're doing and take care of it. I want you to think about your students then, many of which do not spend their lives in quadrant two. They are faced with constant emergencies. Their reality is the phone did stop working, and they cannot do anything else until it's taken care of. And that even means your programs, their learning goals. If they are in need of money, they're going to have to go to work, and school may not be the priority. If they're in need of transportation, they're not going to come and see you because they don't have any way of getting there, right? So we're looking in and we're seeing this in our own personal lives, but we're also seeing it in everybody's lives. But I do think that our students are unique. I think that they live in quadrant one daily, and I don't think most of us do. I think sometimes we treat things as if they're quadrant one, but the reality is we're quadrant two people. Most of our time should be spent in quadrant two as leaders. We want to spend our time on things that are important, but we don't allow them to become urgent. Jen Wigington's the executive director for the Indiana Association, and she has this little band. I don't have it on today, but it's about, you've got one on. Go ahead and tell us, what does your band say?
I think it says pause. Power of the pause.
The power of the pause. It's reminding us to just take a moment to do that, to pause. And here, when we live in that world of important things that are not yet urgent, we have time to take a deep breath. We have time to pause. We have time to take a long lunch. We have time to spend a few extra minutes with the student or with our colleague that needs to have somebody just listen to them. So we're trying to give you more time, as if that were real, back in your day, back in your life, to get rid of that urgency by using prioritization. Now, it may sound like then I'm very task-oriented and I wouldn't have time for anything fun, which is also true, sadly. No, the reality is that I make fun wherever I'm at, but things that are in quadrant four, they're not important or they're not urgent. It's not an important activity, but it is important that I spend some time in quadrant four, meaning just the things that I like to do for fun, it's actually important that you do that. Important to spend time on things that are not important or urgent. For some of you, it may just be relaxing. For others, it may be going out for a night on the town. It can look like anything you want it to look like. Playing video games, baking bread, spending time in the garden, maybe taking a trip or traveling, that downtime. But some of you are guilty, even on your vacation, that you're checking your email, that you're checking your phone every 5 seconds, or that you're scrolling still on TikTok, sitting out there on the beach. That happens sometimes. It's all okay, as long as you are paying attention to your prioritizations and that you're not letting things become urgent that should just be important. And then quadrant three, these things are going to happen no matter what. There is probably a bus or a train that's about to leave, and you're not on it. Right? It's going to happen. It's urgent. It's about to go, and you don't care. Nobody cares, except if you're waiting on that train because you need to be someplace. And if you've ever been running to catch a train, a plane, or a ride from a friend, you know that suddenly it can become urgent to you. So what is urgent to you and what's urgent to somebody else is also very different. Sometimes it's hard to find where is that balance. I was talking to a colleague last week, and they were asking me to do something as soon as possible. It wasn't you, Eric. They were asking, it wasn't even somebody with Connectable. They were asking me to do something ASAP. And I knew that the deadline for this is April the 10th, and we were in March. So I asked, just to confirm, the deadline is April the 10th, correct? And they confirmed, yes, I just need this right away. I just wanted to clarify that this was your urgency and not my issue. I needed to clarify that, right? It's important that we recognize what's urgent to one and what's on their task. And they may be trying to get out the door and off of their plate. it doesn't have to hijack my world, but some of you get hijacked often. That other people's priorities, other people's urgencies start to get in your way. And I bring this up because it goes with our artificial intelligence idea that you yourself may not be the best person to organize and determine your important and urgent things. You may know all the things that you need to do, but I don't know if I trust me to make the right decision on what's important and what's urgent. There are some common mistakes that we make, and this is something that I hope that you share with your students, that many of them are living in quadrant one. Notice that is a mistake. We've got to get out of the emergency lane. We're not driving the ambulance. Constantly putting out fires, it leaves no time for growth activities. If you and your program are overwhelmed, doing too many things, you are stifling your growth. You're stalling your program because you're living in quadrant one. And I've heard this before. I asked someone to describe what it is that they do, and they said, I'm a firefighter. But really, they were a school superintendent. And I knew right away that wasn't a good leader for the district because you can't be a firefighter in that world. You're going to miss out on all the important things, the things that really matter. The next one is confusing urgency with importance. Not everything that we do feels urgent. It is actually going to matter at the end of the day. But yet we're doing these things that are just like randomly important and urgent all of a sudden, and we get a lot of things done, but we didn't get done the things that we needed to do. And maybe you've been there where you're like, wow, today was so busy. How did I not get anything done? How did I not accomplish what I needed to accomplish? And it's very confusing sometimes to be in that situation. The other thing that happens is that we neglect quadrant two. We spend our time in other areas, so these things that are important but not urgent, they tend to build up on this big, long list of all these things that I need to do. Anybody have a big, long list of things they need to do? Well, then you're in the right place because that happens. And why does it happen? The hard truth is it's because we're neglecting quadrant two. We're not spending enough time in the right priority. Maybe it's quadrant one and we're running around putting out fires. Maybe it's quadrant four and we're doing all these things just vegging out, not doing anything at all. We're staring at the computer, but nothing's getting done. And that happens sometimes, that we end up being that person that just doesn't accomplish anything because maybe we have something called task paralysis. Those with neurodivergence, if we have anybody that is autistic or has dyslexia, ADHD, things like that, this is a real condition that is cognitively a struggle to be able to see these task lists and to be motivated to get through them, because the way that the urgent receptors are occurring, we get stuck, if you're a neurodivergent person, with the inability to move forward until that top thing on the list gets moved out of the way. So I actually have a version of this that we teach to those with neurodivergencies to help them process and prioritize information in a way that causes them to clear out tasks from that list. Those big doom piles that are in every corner suddenly clear up by utilizing this method. So it's very effective if we avoid the mistakes. We also then have to consider the fact that this is a consistent and constant process. We have to do it regularly and often and always, and we revise it and we come back to it, and we're bouncing back and forth between the things that we are accomplishing and the things that we need to be accomplishing. And the great part about the AI version of this is that it'll do it for you all throughout the day. So as somebody comes up to you and says, hey, here's another thing to add to your plate, you say, thank you. I'll go ahead and get this prioritized and begin working on it as soon as I can. And then see, they feel heard. They feel like, oh, great. I've got it off my plate. I put it on their plate, and they've confirmed that they're going to prioritize it. Then when they come back to you and they say, hey, did you get that done? And you're like, well, it's been 30 minutes. No, I haven't even thought about it. You can say, no, I revised my priority list, and you've got a few things ahead of you. And that becomes clear because people begin to understand that you still value what they're asking you to do, but they also recognize that just like them, there's a lot to do, and that the order in which you do them is not up to them. It's up to you. In this case, it's up to AI because then you can blame something else. You can say, actually, I ran it through an algorithm and a million data scientists agree that your priority ranks as 4. And people will start to respond to you. In a way, they're going to avoid you. See, then they're not even going to ask you. They're going to be like, wow, he is as weird as he comes across. That is a very strange response to asking for help. So they'll stop asking for those reports or for those grant updates. Maybe not. Maybe they're still going to need them. But you're going to have better control over managing it. And the reality is, you're going to get more done when you prioritize things in order of importance and urgency. The things that are important are all going to get done, and they're going to get done in a less stressful managing time, which is excellent. So we've got some problems with the traditional tools that we are using. The first one is the static to-do list, because again, constantly things are being added to your plate. It's happening right now. You are getting emails in your pockets of things that you need to do. And they're not yet on your radar. They're not even on that list yet, but they're happening. And since you've been at the conference, you've probably had a lot of those things being added to that list. You're going to have to play catch up. If you stayed with that same to-do list that you left the office with and went back in, you will never catch up, right? Your list has to be adaptable. So you're constantly adapting to the situation. We have to use context awareness to do it. So what are your priorities when you come back from the conference? I guarantee they're different, or they should be different than when you left. Overscheduling is another one. This is where the calendar is completely color coded. Any of those in here? Anybody got a color coded calendar? I see the guilty faces. And you're even having to block out like break time, lunch, phone calls. Anybody schedule phone calls? Like, I will call you then back here, So that doesn't leave us time to be able to do these other things that need to fit into the schedule. So when we don't leave some blank space in there, that back-to-back task, it's going to lead to something called burnout. See, it's a predictor. I'm a certified quantitative methodologist, so like correlational studies and things like that's really kind of my jam. And that means that I know where burnout occurs, when it occurs, and how it occurs. And this is where and how and when it occurs, is when those task lists are just completely inevitably going to crush you because you leave no time in the day for quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And you may even struggle. When you have a quadrant 1 activity, it's going to put you behind in quadrant 2. And then decision fatigue. This usually happens at the end of a conference for me. After this session, my brain will, for some reason, just go into a Control Alt Delete, restart, reboot, unplug me. It's just not going to work. And I'm going to need a day of just unplugged, right? Where you get home and you don't want to have a conversation with somebody. I mean, you may like them, but you don't want to talk to them. You may not want to look at them. You may not want to be in the same room as them. Even if you have like not seen them for a week because of the conference, you get home and you're like, don't talk to me, right? You put that hand up, I see it. You just are, you're ready for some quiet time. And you can't make another decision. It frustrates me because I'm a decisive person. When you get done with the day and you're like, okay, so where do you want to eat? The worst question you could ever ask someone. And I'm not going to be mean and say a woman because some of you men are just as bad at it. But where do you want to eat? I don't know. Nothing sounds good, right? Nothing sounds good, even though you're hungry. Well, why? Decision fatigue. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody just told you what to eat because they knew your day, they know already your tastes and preferences, they know that Tara's gonna want Mexican because when does she not, right? It's predictable. You can figure it out too. Artificial intelligence could just figure it out for you. So what's nice is it's gonna be able to stop personal communication between your loved ones. You're just gonna let it do that. So if you got a family like mine, you'd understand. But AI is a productivity assistant. It has given me back so much time, if that were real. Exactly, if that were real. Why? Well, one, because as somebody that is a analyst, it takes a long time. In that career, when I was like crunching big data and looking at it and running all those statistics through SPSS, it took a long time. Like sometimes I'd spend months going through just like a single research study, trying to culminate the data and figure out what is it actually telling me. And I'd be running different statistics trying to see what else it tells me. And now I don't even read it. I just upload it, say, give me a recap. What are the findings? Not only that, look at it through different lenses and tell me other connections that may be made that I didn't even ask. And it can do that as well. So it can do that with our time. It's a rapid analysis. It's going to do it just in an instant. You're going to be able to figure out what do you need to do and when do you need to do it. AI processes these tasks in instantly without emotional bias. See, that's the other part of it, is there are things that I don't like to do even when I'm good at them. So then I don't choose to do it because I don't like doing it. And yeah, it would take me 5 minutes because I'm good at it, but no thanks, right? I could do something more fun and waste more time if that were real. But this doesn't have emotions. And I've been accused of not having emotions too, but I've never been accused of not having bias. This doesn't have either. So it's like a win-win to use AI. And then we also have adaptability. It can reprioritize just in an instant. These new tasks arise, it can just reorder it and tell you, okay, here's what to do next. This is where to go, what to do, who to talk to, what to say. I don't even have to write emails anymore. It's just doing it for me, right? And without emotional bias. So if I don't like you, it's not being mean to you, it's being nice to you because it doesn't know that I don't like you. And then also it learns these patterns over time. So it recognizes even those tasks at hand and when you're good at them and how to prioritize them, even in your day. So some of you, maybe the best time for you to check email is right after lunch when you're kind of winding down and your mind is slowing down. And for others, it's going to be first thing in the morning when your mind is like racing and on fire and you can rapidly go through them. It's going to learn those patterns and how much time you are spending on these activities so that it's going to reprioritize and make it work best for you. We also have smart suggestions then, things that maybe you wouldn't think of, things that other people are providing information as well and that maybe you're not considering, maybe because of some bias. So it identifies what truly matters based on your goals, not other people's. You have to assimilate your own goal. That means that if somebody is setting a goal for you, you're going to miss the goal. You're not going to achieve it. You will not hit it. I can promise you that. Some of you will adapt to the goal. Some of you will say, no, I like that idea. I'm going to make it my own. And then you're going to work toward that goal because it's yours now. It belongs to you. You are going to be likely to achieve it. There's also a scenario where the person's goal doesn't match your own, meaning they aren't high enough for you. Your goal, your ability, much higher than what they can imagine. Has somebody asked you something before and it was really, really simple and you thought, I could do that and more. I could do that and better. I think of a student that I saw that had come in and she just asked for a $5 gas card and she just needed a place to get from one point to another, needed $5. And that's something that we do, so it's no big deal. But I didn't just assume that if she needed a $5 gas card, that that was her only need, right? That's what she knew to communicate. But what I knew is that when people ask for $5 in gas, they could probably use some food too. So I took her over to our sharing shelf where we have, food and hygiene items and things like that. And I said, hey, here's a bag. Like if you need any food or anything for your car trip, any snacks or anything, go ahead and grab some. And also, some people donated like a bunch of lotion and deodorant and even like feminine hygiene products. Like, I don't know what to do with them. So if you need any of those, help us out, take some, be on your way. And of course, she filled her bag. Like her only need wasn't the $5 gift card, right? It was that's what she was communicating because that was a quadrant one for her. She urgently needed to get someplace and it was so important. She had no way of getting there, no money to get there. But I also knew that there were probably some other things that maybe were less urgent, but equally important to help her out with. And we do that ourselves too. There's all kinds of things that we know to communicate that we need, but we don't necessarily think of all the other things that we could use, but not necessarily are urgent right now. So it helps us take better care of ourselves at the same time. It also helps spot time wasters that you might miss, things that you were just getting trapped in and doing, and it's really not helping you. You think it is because you're making progress, but not in the right area. I kind of live by that thought of like, if what you're doing isn't contributing to the goal, stop doing it, which makes sense. But isn't it hard, like, to quit doing the things that aren't complementing our goals? It, sometimes they are fun. Absolutely. So that's where our quadrant 4 activities get in there. And again, there is plenty of time and opportunity for it, but it's got to be in the right place. ChatGPT is a free tool, and it's a good place to start if you're just learning AI. Now, keep in mind that it's nothing new, right? These things are maybe like newer to the market and people are using them in different ways. But in education, curriculum providers, authors of our textbooks, they've been using this for like 20 years, this generative AI. Our tests that we provide to students, a lot of them are learning questions that need to be asked, and they'll put trial questions in one year and see how did students do? Do we include that for the next version? So those are all forms of this generative artificial intelligence, this ability to adapt based on the learner profile, right? So it's going to be a great tool for adult ed. It's going to help prepare our students quicker than any community college, university setting, or even high school setting could do. Adult education is nice because it's nimble, it's adaptable, and it's always focused on that workforce attainment, right? It's thinking ahead about that career and how we're going to change lives using that. So we're going to use this tool for this purpose today, but I want you to know that this tool can be used for lots of purposes with your programs, with your students, improving communication and things like that. We're going to keep it simple on what to do. The only thing that you will need to do to be successful using AI for the Eisenhower matrix in this prioritization sequence is to be able to list your tasks. And some of you already admitted you already had lists, so we're already almost there, right? Which is great. So being able to just list everything without any influence. All you have to do is just write out everything you have to do. And that may be a daunting task in and of itself. You may have to block out time and put that on your calendar to do it. But the nice part is, once you've done it once, from here on out, all you're doing is telling it things that you did and new things that have been added. And then it's going to continue to revise the list and keep you going, moving forward all along the way. The AI is going to generate this matrix then. It's going to sort the tasks automatically into the 4 quadrants for you. It's going to tell you the things that are important that you need to do right away, and it's going to go all along throughout those 4. It's also going to be able to provide some context and rationale. If you ask it, if you're like, why are you having me do this right now? I really think that I need to be doing this. It'll communicate that. It'll let you know, no, you are wrong. I'm a computer. I know a million times more facts and data than you ever could, and I can process them quicker than you. So do you really want to rely on your flawed self, or do you just trust that I'm going to get you to the goal? Because sometimes we get in our way, right? We also have that schedule based on the matrix, so you can block out your time according to prioritized tasks. So your calendar transforms as well. No longer do you see meeting, appointment, phone call, reply to this, reply to that, work on this. Instead, you're going to start seeing quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, have some fun, quadrant 4. Right? So if there's nothing in quadrant 1, which should be the case most days, that you never see anything in quadrant 1. There's very rarely a day that I have something that becomes a quadrant 1. When it does happen, it's easy to then stop what I'm doing and go take care of it. But if you're always living there, it's really hard to ever get back to quadrant 2. So open up the calendar, quadrant 2 activities. You just start going down the list because you can trust that it knows the right order to put them in and you're the right person for the job because it's your list. It knows you. And then it's able to adjust when needed. So as new tasks are entered in, you're just going to ask AI to reassess the priorities and move forward. I put together, and this is a little bit weird, so I hope it works. I screen recorded this as an example. So you're actually going to be able to see me on ChatGPT trying to type on this awkward little keyboard here, which is not good for me. So I do make a lot of mistakes. I'm backspacing and things so you can relate to it as well. I wanted it to be real relatable, like you could see yourself doing this. So this is what it looks like. I've got the prompt up here that says use the Eisenhower matrix to help me organize my week. And then I ask it, are you ready for all the things that I need to do? I talk to ChatGPT in conversational quick phrases. How you code or communicate with the artificial intelligence is really important. It is like learning a new language. So you are going to have to learn how to do it, how to use it. Lots of codes and commands out there. Of course, we're happy to teach you how to do it as well. If you're a member, we've got free classes that you can take and apply this. It's a great opportunity to start using these tools in your everyday life and into your programs. I put in that code. I ask if it's ready. It's really important to confirm before you give it too much information or the results are not as good. The same if you're having it write a paper for you or an email. It should be paragraph by paragraph, not page by page. It actually starts to get less quality. You're going to get a C if you just post the instructions and say, do this. I want you to get the A. I want you to be in that performance category that, wow, this is the best thing I ever wrote, or this is the meanest email I've ever had. You really want it to be the best, even if it's the worst, right? So I have that. It responds back, absolutely. Hit me with everything you got. I've been working with it for a few years. So see, it knows me and it knows I'm sarcastic to it. It knows my sense of humor. It knows how I communicate. It knows the language I use. And it's communicating just like me to me. So remember, it's an expert system. It's taken everything that's up here in me and now it's embedded in my account. So it will know you. It will know how you talk, what you are, who you are, what you like. If I ask it to find restaurants, it knows the restaurants that I like. It's going to find other ones in the Dallas area to help me navigate and know where to go. So it's going to know you. So it says, yep, hit me with it. It's reminding me what it is. Do it now, urgent and important. Do it now, right now. Just do it. Schedule it. Quadrant 2, just schedule it. That's all you got to do is put it on there. 3, delegate it. Don't do it yourself. Some of you don't know how to do that. Some of you delegate things that are urgent and important. You don't handle it yourself. It's an emergency. Somebody else can take care of it. And some of you are delegating things that should be scheduled, things that you should be handling because you're a mature adult and you have responsibility. I know that crushed some of your dreams of staying a child. And then quadrant 4, consider dropping it. And notice it's consider. It's like, yeah, think about maybe not doing that. And a lot of times it's like, I may have time at the end of the day. I may be all done, but it may not be wise because of something called burnout that maybe I should do nothing. Maybe I shouldn't go and socialize with friends in that moment. Maybe I should pause, right? And that's what Jen's bracelets say. So it says, go ahead, list all the tasks, and then feel free to include it here. So let's see how awful this is. Hopefully it's not too bad. So here it is, me trying to type on this keyboard. Pay electric bill, charge the phone, things that we have to do, bathe the kids, I got to cook dinner, read chapter 4. So notice it's like just normal things, right? Whether you're a student, whether you're a staff member here, mow the lawn with all that rain, a lot of lawn mowing going on. And we got to call Barb. So I'm putting everything, balance the checkbook, as if people still do that instead of just checking their app. Pick up a gift. For Neil's 30th. Notice I made him seem real young. I think Australia, it declines your age somehow. And then follow up on job applications because I, can insult Neil. Put out the trash for Thursday. So now I'm including context here, saying oh, it's this day that it needs to happen. And then now it's just organizing it. It's telling me, okay, here are the things to do. Here are the things that are not urgent and important. So these are things I need to schedule. And then it's going to keep on going. It's giving me some context around it as well. So like routine maintenance things like mowing the lawn, that's just things you need to do. Those are quadrant two. Urgent things, not important. Call Barb. They don't care about Barb. Anybody's name Barb in here? No Barbs? Okay, good. So, because I'm not calling Barb back, I'm going to delegate it. So awesome. But now make it visual for me. So like put it into a visual style. You can have it do that. I use a real basic one this time. So it's just like a checklist. It's also color coded using different icons just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. And then notice the little no, delete or delay. It's like, hey, you got other things to do. Remember, it's going to organize for you. So it's letting you know, hey, I can organize this. If you have all these things in quadrant two, you don't have business in quadrant four yet, right? We don't have time for that yet. Would you like it day by day? No. Instead, I just remembered on Tuesday that I've got to take my mom to a doctor's appointment. So now it's just automatically reorganized it and updated it with my mom's appointment. And then again, it's helping you figure out, navigate what it is. So if you get real specific, if you start putting your due dates, your times, when your meetings are, what dates, things like that, who's important to you, you could list that in a spreadsheet. You could like, it's really fun to kind of rank your friends, top 8 MySpace style, you know, and then it'll prioritize it for you. Your colleagues, if you're like every time Barb calls, say I'm in a meeting, Lucy will tell you. She'll just say, Dr. Hopkins is in a meeting. She has access to my calendar, so she knows where I'm at, what I'm doing. So I was like, perfect. We'll mark that one done. So I did tell it that I went ahead and paid the electric bill though. So now it did that and it marked it as checked. So notice that now it's off of that list. Doesn't exist on that list anymore. Okay. So it does just kind of remove it. All right. So I've got some other tools for you too, just to kind of recommend. The first one, of course, is ChatGPT. It's great at task sorting, scheduling, idea generation, brainstorming, all that good stuff. I think it's really powerful. I would say that's the best place to start. If you're just brand new to it, if you're not using it in the workplace, this is where to begin. Create an account so that it's secure for yourself. Do you pay for it or not? It gives you a lot for free. So I think you'll be good in most situations to begin probably the first month or two using the free version. And if you use it every day for a month, you will absolutely pay for the pro version because it's going to do way more for you. But it's got to be integrated into your life at that level to really make it valuable. If you're an occasional user, if you're using it for special projects or just for task orientations, kind of things with prioritization, paid version is going to work for you. It's going to do well helping you with emails and things like that as well. So again, with the tasks, when you have something that you need to respond to and maybe you don't know how, you could actually use something else instead. At Connectable, we use a program called Fixer. It's responding to about 90% of your emails. If it doesn't know how to respond, it pins, so then you haven't gotten a response back very quickly. That's how to tell if it's waiting on us or if AI was smart enough to do it. If you get something real quick back, it wasn't me. If you get something back 4 weeks and I was like, hey, I didn't see this, that's me. So you can always prompt it, because there's a little trick too, and I'll tell you the trick, I'll tell you the trick, I'll tell you the trick. The trick is, if in the context, if you put the word emergency or priority 1 in it at all, it'll immediately text message me and it's going to be like, Chrissy needs you. So, you know, you can also play with the system if you wish. So that's also good to know as you are communicating with other people. But Fixer does a really good job of having the database. Again, it knows everywhere I'm going, everything I'm doing. It's constantly monitoring kind of those activities, but it also has full access to our FAQs and database knowledge base system, our IT tickets, things like that. So as you're emailing it, it can provide you updates and things like that without actually involving a real human person. Gmail Smart also has a smart reply. Maybe you've seen that too. It's kind of giving you like an AI summary, and then it's making suggestions that you can say, yep, thank you, I'll call you back, or whatever. Your text messages are doing the same thing these days. We also have things like Trello. That's like visual tasks. So if you are a more visual person and you like infographics, or you like to see how things are going to flow on flowcharts, that's going to be a really easy tool to use. Again, that's a free option for you. So So if you want some visualization added to it, and then Google Calendar, plus it's knowing again these prioritizations. It also uses the Eisenhower Principle to do it, so it actually can help you in that way. And it's a tool that's included with all Gmail accounts, so it doesn't cost extra. So that's a great way to utilize it as well. But avoid some of the pitfalls with it. There certainly are some. You have to balance it with intuition. AI is just a tool. It's not replacing human judgment. We're not quite there yet. Some of you have good judgment. Some of you have poor judgment. With AI, you're still either going to have good judgment or poor judgment. It's not going to solve that problem for you. It does provide clear inputs, though. So vague prompts are going to yield like unhelpful outputs. You've got to get really specific, conversational. You got to spend some time letting it get to know you and your work habits and your voice and how you communicate with other people and what your priorities in life are, what your personal goals are. You should be telling it all about yourself before you start asking anything of it. You want to get to know your AI world. And then regularly reassesses. So ask AI to reprioritize as these circumstances are changed. As you're accomplishing things, share it with it. It'll actually start to encourage you. It does have the ability to have a mental health component. So you can actually tell it, like, I want to be more positive in my day. Please include responses and thoughts that help me become more optimistically oriented, and it will do that. So if you are somebody that struggles, like maybe you have this difficulty of like empathizing with the students, and every time you hear things you cry, it can help encourage you and strengthen resilience. But you have to command it to do this. It has to know these things about you. So the more honest you are about yourself and the things that you have to do, the better it's going to be. And yeah. Yes, yes, yes. We got one down here right there. We'll get you a spot. And then when we're looking at today, this is that call to action to really encourage you to start right now, to not waste time. It begins just like listing out your tasks. So if you just start that, that's going to be a big step forward. Just gather all the things that you need to do. Don't judge it. Don't filter it. Don't remove things that you know are important to you that you just don't want to see on a list. Don't not put something on there that you know that needs to get done, but you're not ready to face it. You know, those kind of, just list it all. Trust that it knows how to deal with that. Just try a simple prompt first. Sort these tasks into the Eisenhower matrix and explain why, and kind of get comfortable with what it's doing, how it's doing it, and start to learn from it. Start to see just instinctively how it's organizing the things that you need to do. Implement the matrix itself, focusing on those important tasks and not the urgent ones. Remember, we try to stay out of that emergency lane as best that we can, and reflect and adjust along the way. It really is about doing what matters and not doing more. We don't want you to burn out. I think this is something that every single person in education kind of faces. It's our biggest threat, probably besides funding, is this. So it's an important topic, and I think it's one that we need to really discuss. Well, I'm going to open it up to questions and things. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions and all of that. I also just want to acknowledge and give some credit on the report itself, on this presentation. I don't want you to think that I made it or that I wasted any time. I used a tool called gamma.app, and I told it, hey, this is the title that Amy submitted for me for COABE, and then it made this presentation, and it did it in about 8 seconds. Then yesterday for her presentation, she's like, I forgot a really important fact on my presentation, and I was like, oh, remember the old Amy would have like stayed up all night trying to fix the presentation, but the new Amy came into the presentation, we edited the prompt and said, don't forget this fact, and it was ready for her presentation in less than a minute. So it's called gamma.app. Yeah, app. Yes, it is free. Yeah, I try to, the world's expensive enough, right? I try to really just emphasize some free tools and ways of handling. Uh, yes, it's gamma, GAMMA.app. Yeah, it's a great, if you've got presentations, you can upload, like you could have ChatGPT create an outline And or if you have an outline or if you have notes, you can just paste them in there and it'll do the presentation for you. It also tells me like how long to spend on each slide and things so that, we have enough time, right? I'll start with you in the back. And if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of give you the microphone and bounce back and forth for our friends on Zoom. Let me also check there. So if you have questions on Zoom, feel free to post those.
So you talk about having to regularly reassess priorities and enter new things, and it's important if you're interacting with the AI to kind of update it every so often. Practically speaking, I know ChatGPT does not remember every single detail. Like it kind of prioritizes. It'll take a guess. It'll say memory updated whenever it like thinks that something needs to be remembered. You can also kind of enter meta directions for it. But I'm curious, do you like keep one conversation saved where you do this all the time, so that it kind of remembers that one conversation, or do you open a project, like just the practicals of like how you get it to remember what you needed to remember?
Yeah, so great question. Especially with the paid version, it actually logs the conversations, is what it calls it, in a unique way. So what ends up happening is that I have a conversation that's just like my to-do list, right? And I just use that chat for it. I can use it like on my phone. I can just use the audio part, hit the thing, and I can just say, hey, add to my to-do list. And then it knows that's the conversation. It remembers that code, everything about it. And if you create that persona for it, it's going to know you. So then you can have different chats for different things. But yeah, if you use one chat and you just keep saying it, it is going to forget it. The free version, it forgets it more frequently, even in the middle of a task. So if you are like using it, like for example, like discussion boards in classrooms, if I'm like, hey, I've got these students that wrote these discussions, write replies that are between 50 and 100 words. I copy what they paste or what they wrote, and I just paste it in Chat GPT, and then it writes the response for me, and I copy and paste it back and forth. What ends up happening though is that like after a while, it'll forget. So then it starts giving really long responses. And it's like, yeah, Dr. Hopkins did not write 4 pages in response to my 1 paragraph, right? So you may have to control it. But with the paid version, that does not happen. So it has a long lasting memory, way better than my own memory.
So I use Gemini, Google Gemini, for help with my Google Sheets formulas. Does it work like ChatGPT, or is it a different?
Yeah, it's going to be a judgment call on what's better. I think that the algorithms with ChatGPT and the amount of data that it has right now is better. And there's also like a version out of China called DeepSeek, which actually has a more impressive algorithm, but also a greater risk as far as data. So like, do you always want to use the best tool? I'm going to say not necessarily. Gemini is absolutely fine. Yeah. Okay, I'll come to you right after, just because she's close.
Sorry about that. That's why I have to sit in the front. I was wondering, well, 2 things. First of all, one thing you mentioned was that you could put this into like an Excel sheet and upload it. And let me tell you the other one before I forget. How safe is this in terms of privacy?
Yeah, so extremely safe. That's the good news, is that especially with a paid account, it's even safer because it only looks at the data that you provide or you store with it. So you have to remember that the government had access and was using this way before you were, and we all know that we can trust the government. So it allows us to really have confidence in its data security, right? But no, the truth is, yeah, our military, the government, high levels of data reporting, all of the federal data that you report, it's all using that same technology. So it's like, yeah, it's just as safe as anything else. Much more risky is using your bank card. So if you are using a debit card or a credit card to pay for things, your security is way more at risk than what you're using ChatGPT for. A couple things from our online audience then. Can ChatGPT or another AI show you a visual for the Eisenhower matrix? Absolutely. So the one that that I think does a pretty good job with that. Let me go back to this slide here for you. Would be like the Trello. Also, you can ask ChatGPT if you have the paid version. It does have those options of creating visuals, even infographics. It can also do videos now, so it does a lot for you there. Email as well. Yes, it's just called Fixer, and it's Fixor. It does an incredible job organizing your email, responding to your emails, alerting you which emails you need to write a manual response to, and then you still do have to check it though to make that happen. And then do you transfer the prioritized tasks from ChatGPT to the Google Calendar manually? Right now you do, but I don't actually use Google Calendar, so I don't. Mine works through a different app, so that is proprietary, so not one that you can get. And then PowerPoints is called gamma.app. And the slides and stuff will be uploaded as well. So, yep, these are the recommendations I have. And if you have issues with like the mental health, depression, anxiety, things like that, there are specific tools out there for this. But I think ChatGPT does a good job. Remind me real quick what it was. Yep.
How do you upload like a list of?
It does file attachments, or you can copy and paste it. But right into the ChatGPT window, you can just attach it and say, here's my list. And if that helps you keep it on other devices, you can do that too. Yes. Is that how you start? I do encourage you to start that way. Just if it's a Word document or an Excel sheet, just list out everything that you have to get done. Yeah, I do. I'm going to go to her and then I'll come back.
I have two quick things. So I'm wondering if you can give us maybe like 5 or 10 tips on how to generate the best prompts. Like I've been using these things for a while. I'm not always great at that. And then also, side note, I've been recording this and there's an app called Wave, WAVE, and it's going to take everything that we've talked about today and summarize it into a document, which is great. Like if you have staff members that you need to have conversations with, and it's super easy to send a follow-up email too. Like, hey, here are the 4 things that we talked about today as a reminder. Then you have, proof if that's something that your job entails. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking for best prompt ideas.
Thank you. No, you're good. Yeah, so yeah, that's a great tool. Plod is also another one that's a wearable device that can outline and help in meetings. What I like about Plod, P-L-A-U-D, what I like about it is that it recognizes voices. So as long as you announce yourself one time, it remembers who you are. So then in your notes, it's showing this person said this and this person said that. And I love it because then whenever she says, I didn't say that, I say, yes, you did. And I can pull it back up. So it's a wonderful tool. The other thing, Plod, like Claude, but with a P, P-L-A-U-D. You can wear it. It's the size of a business card, so you can just carry it in your purse or wallet as well, or it has just a little device. Okay, and then the other one was you were asking specifically about how would we do prompts and things like that. The first thing I would do is I would pull up our good friend ChatGPT, and instead of talking about the Eisenhower matrix, I would say, give me the best tips for GPT prompts. See, I would not do it. That's the truth. I would ask it to do it and let it decide because I would not necessarily know. So see, it's saying probably what I've already told you. Yeah, be specific. Tell me about marketing. That's vague. Better explain how social media marketing strategies work. Set the format, give me a bulleted list, write a 100-word summary. It's going to instruct you. So if you don't know, just ask it. It is like a person. So instead of asking me, I'm not the expert. I didn't even do this presentation. So ask it, Yeah. Well, I just travel slow and often, right? That's, yeah. Yes. I live a exciting, balanced life.
I'm going to ask because she has laryngitis. This is her question. Accessibility is a huge thing. Okay, do you do in the prompt, make it accessible or?
Yes. Yeah, so accessibility, one, I think AI is going to change the world for accessibility. I'm really excited about it in many different aspects. One, my mom, I take care of my mom. She has some memory issues and things like that. And this is just a miracle for her because it'll remind her all the things that she needs to do. I can't wait to get the robot that can help her do tasks around the house so she's not calling me, can you come over and clean the gutters? It's like, ask the robot. But in the meantime, it's very helpful for that. It's also helpful for like sight impaired, for those in other languages. So use these AI tools to help you have conversations all across the world in real time, right across from each other, and be able to understand the languages. So it can help in so many different ways. I highly recommend it. If you have laryngitis, you would actually be able to ask it to speak for you. So you could just like have it read it off. One more, and then I will stick around. I'll be at my booth down at the Connectable booth in the vendor area after this, but we do have to get out of the room quickly.
My question is so simple. I just want to know if this ChatGPT is only on PC. You can do it.
It's actually, so the question was, where can I get the ChatGPT? Is it just on PC? The truth is, it's on any device. It is web-based. It doesn't require an app. There is an app for it. You can use it on an Apple device. You can use it on your phone. You can use it anywhere that there's internet. It's just like Connectable. It's a cloud-based data system. Yep. All right. Hey, I really appreciate you all. Thanks for coming. Feel free to follow up. I'll be down at the booth if you want to chat. And thank you all for the online audience as well for attending, and look forward to seeing you at the next year's COABE. It's in Indianapolis, so come home and visit me.